Then what is introduction to Jenkins, installing different softwares like Java, Jenkins. Then we'll be also going through introduction to Git repository, introduction to Webhook, and live demonstration. So before going to the in-depth of why CI/CD and all, how many of you are aware of these things, and how many of are you very beginner in this particular space? Can everyone give me a count here in the chat section if you can write? Okay, so beginner, fine. Okay, Aditya. Intermediate. Okay, nice. So we have a good group today where we are seeing beginners, intermediate, and okay, fine. So before understanding any of the technologies, why we are using it, it's better to start with something called why. We are here to understand what is the actual use and why we want to implement CI/CD. What is this term means and why it is very helpful in our implementation. Okay. So moving to the next slide, where I'll be giving you why and how we have implemented CI/CD and why it is necessary for everyone to understand these concepts for the smooth running of their particular projects. So it all started where we were started working on an automation project where I think there were 10 developers who were working on a different multiple test cases. So there were around 750 test cases that we have to automate in a sprint fashion. So initially, everything was going very great. Every developer was publishing code directly to the orchestrator and also to the GitHub. So we were maintaining that kind of uh, best practices that we have to upload all our code to the GitHub. And but one thing that we were doing was whoever was developing it, they were directly publishing to different environments. So they are publishing to that orchestrator. Later, when the code started getting, then we are getting more code changes, developer code change, so different test cases were assigned to different developers. So we realized that everything was going haywire for us. Now developers are finding it very difficult to maintain what is the version control, how to upload the code to the production, to the development environment, to the UAT environment. And so things were not going that smooth in our project. And then we realized we have to change something and we have to implement to make our process very smooth. And this is where we come up with a concept called CI/CD, because this is long back. This is not a new terminology. This was implemented earlier, but since this has gained more hype this is a new buzzword in the recent world where everyone is talking about these things. But this is generally a very old concept that is already implemented in different concepts. So what is CI/CD? So I will start with the CI. When I'm talking about CI, it means continuous integration, and CD means continuous development. And I will be using the terminology CI and CD throughout the session. So this CI and CD plays an essential role in modern software lifecycle process. CI helps developers to collaborate more effectively with other team members and identify issues early in the development cycle, which makes them less expensive to resolve. And CD is the automatic process containing various technical stage in which a software is built, tested, deployed to one test and production environment. So for example, here, when we are talking about CD, so you can think about GitHub, you can think about TFS, SVN, any of the repository that you are thinking of, this is applicable here. Since we will be talking about UiPath perspective. So we will be focusing only on the three things that we can connect with UiPath, that is a GitHub, TFS, and SVN. And when we are talking about continuous integration, there are multiple ways where we can implement continuous integration with different things, but we want an open source something. So we will be focusing on the concept called Jenkins. And at the end, I will be also demonstrating how to write an basic code so that you can understand how to write it, what is the use of scripting and all those things in Jenkins. So this was just a basic definition of what is CI/CD. Let me talk about CI and CD into little deep. So CI is a DevOps software development practice where developers regularly merge their code changes into a central repository, after which automated builds and tests are run. The key goals of continuous integration are to find and address bugs quicker, improve software quality, and reduce the time it takes to validate and release new software updates. So this is the most important thing, that this is where CI comes into picture, because it gives the collaborative approach where whatever you have uploaded in the GitHub, for example, and now you don't need a manual person. You don't need to wait for someone else to confirm, validate, test, and all those stuffs. Now, once you uploaded the code, it will directly be fetched by the software Jenkins and all, and then automatically it will, whatever the steps you have mentioned, that once I publish this code, so it will go to a particular dev environment, UAT environment. It will start running it. Once you see that the success has come, then you move to the different testing, start running it, scheduling it. Everything can be done using this continuous integration. So continuous integration is a very important thing in nowadays in making fully automated softwares. And coming back to the continuous development, it is a strategy in which software development where code changes to an application are released automatically into the production environment. This automation is driven by a series of predefined tests. Once new update passes those tests, the system pushes the updates directly to the software users. So this is where, in order to achieve this, regression testing must be automated, thereby eliminating expensive manual regression testing. And this is where, when we are seeing the real challenges, when we have to wait for someone to give an input from there, and okay, you have to now we got the solution, like we are waiting for them. Once we approve, we got the approve, then we're moving to it. So it was a more expensive thing that was coming into picture. So that's the reason we need something else. And this is where the CI/CD comes into picture. So what is happening? For example, you have developed your code in any of the system. So to make from a UiPath perspective, I'd be now focusing only on UiPath. So for example, you have developed your code in UiPath Studio, and now you want to update it. So the general scenario is we are updating it in the Orchestrator. This solution works pretty good, but the main issue in this was when you have multiple scenarios. For example, when you are working with multiple teams, when you are working on multiple test sets, process automations, it is very difficult to understand and to manage the version changes, all those stuffs using the normal published way, because there are different environments. You might have observed that in your organization, different organization follow different products hierarchy, the software development life cycles. For example, now someone wants it in the dev environment, then UAT environment, and then prod environment. This things changes for everything. So earlier, what was the challenge? You were uploading it in the orchestrator, you were running it, and it was working perfectly fine. Then the client asked you to run in the dev environment. You were publishing that package again back to the prod environment, you were running it there. Then client gives you another, we call it UAT environment, sandbox, any name that you use in your terminology that is acceptable. You go there again, you, based on the changes that you have done or anything, you go to that UAT environment and publish it. Once everything is fine, then lastly you move to the prod environment. So now you can see that the whole process was a very time consuming process, which was not a need of the moment. So everyone decided that if we'll keep on doing the same thing, we will not get the right results, and it will end up in paying or the return on investment that what we talk about here, you will not get it. And this is where this CI/CD comes into picture, where there is no need for a manual person to be there for you. What you have to do, once you have written your code, just publish it to the repository. And when I'm talking about repository, it can be anything. It can be a GitHub repository, it can be TFS repository, it can be SVN repository. Once that repository has been updated, what will happen? It will automatically be connected to the Jenkins. I will be coming to that part, what is Jenkins and how it works on it. The live demonstration will be there, how we are linking it, what are the things we need for UiPath Studio, UiPath Orchestrator, what else needed. So please bear for a moment. I will be coming to that in next 10-20 minutes. And then what will happen, it will upload it to the UiPath GitHub repository. Automatically Jenkins will pick it, and whatever steps you will mention, the Jenkins will start doing it. Now when I'm talking about what are the steps, it means if you want to run it, if you want to build it, if you want to deploy it, everything Jenkins can do it, because you will be writing all those stuffs in the Jenkins code, and I will also be showing you what are those things, what are those functions and all. So if you see this diagram, you can see here the source control, you can upload it to any of the repositories. Then once it has been built, like once it is started fetching by the Jenkins, it will start automatically building it based on the code that you have written. And then it will move to the different stages again, which you have mentioned it in the Jenkins file. And finally, it will automatically, if everything works good, it will automatically go to the production. If there are any errors in between, definitely your flow will be affected, and you will be intimidated by that particular thing. Okay, there is some issue here, and you have to again go back and then see it. Now we have talked about Jenkins a lot. So now it's the time to understand what is Jenkins and why we are talking about it a lot. So Jenkins is an open source automation server. There are many other continuous integration tools available. We have Azure, we have, there are many. So Jenkins is an open source and free, so which we can use it. There are already community sessions happened on Azure. If you like to know about Azure, you can refer to the Azure session as well. So I'll be now focusing on Jenkins. So Jenkins is an open source automation server. With Jenkins, organizations can accelerate the software development process by automating it. Jenkins manages and controls software delivery process throughout the entire life cycle, including what to be built, document, test, packages, stage, deployment, static code analysis, and much more. So this is the best part of Jenkins. Now, Jenkins is a Java-based open source automation platform with plugins, multiple plugins. I would not just say plugins, I would say multiple plugins designed for continuous integration. Whatever tool you used, it definitely you will find the plugins in Jenkins. By that, what happens, it makes their or your life very easy to integrate with that software. So you talk about UiPath, you talk about GitHub, all those plugins are available in Jenkins. So Jenkins is used to continually create and test software projects, making it easier for developers to integrate changes to the project and for consumers to get a new build. It also enables you to release your software continuously by interacting with various testing and deployment methods. So now when I'm talking about methods, so I'm talking about something called environments, where you have dev environment, where you have test environment, or you have UAT environment, or where you have prod environment. So all those things are automatically done by Jenkins. With these things, let me go back and okay, let me go back and take you to few of the things before I move to this particular slide. What are the mandatory requirements that you should know, that you should have it for using Jenkins? The first thing which I would recommend, you can't use Jenkins without using Java in your system. So I won't be showing you how to download, how to install Java here, because it takes a quite half an hour or more than an hour. So I would just be giving you the process, what needs to be done before running Jenkins in your system. The first requirement is you should have Java downloaded in your system, and the version should be greater than 11. So you can go to Java version 11 download like this, go to Java downloads, and then in the Windows section, you can find whatever suits you. So this is the first thing that you should install in your system before using Jenkins. So this was first. And the second was, as the name Jenkins, so you have to write Jenkins download. Okay. And when you see Jenkins, you go there, go to your, there are, we can download Jenkins for different purposes, for Dockers, Kubernetes, Ubuntu. So we'll be focusing on Windows, and then automatically Jenkins will getting start if you'll do that. Okay. So right now I already have it, so I'll be canceling it. So these are the two must requirement to use Jenkins. And the thing is, once you install Jenkins, the process is pretty simple. You don't need just use click next, 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 and automatically, once everything is sorted out, first of all, you just check what is your current version and then start running the Jenkins. You will directly land up once everything got sorted out, and you will get that Jenkins has been installed in your system. You will directly land up to this particular URL called localhost, and then colon 8080. This is the page where you will come, and again the username and password you have to create it there. The process is pretty simple, same step where you need to mention it. And once you created your username and password, then you have to come here and you have to log it. Okay, so I hope till now everyone is following. Any questions before I jump to the Jenkins tool? Anyone who have a very quick question, you can unmute yourself and ask before I move to the Jenkins part. Okay, if no one has, then let me move to the Jenkins. So I'll be clicking on sign in. And once you click on sign in, you will land up in this particular first page for everyone. Everyone will have the similar kind of structure with you. So now here you have multiple things. For example, you can see a new item, people, build history, and manage Jenkins. Few things that you have to take care before doing anything is called like installing plugins, credentials, and all those stuff, which I'll be demonstrating. So for example, how to do plugins download or install in your Jenkins. So what you have to do, you have to click on something called Manage Jenkins. So I'll be clicking on this Manage Jenkins. Okay. You scroll down and then you can see something called plugins. I'll be clicking on plugins. And now, whatever plugins you need. So first of all, there is two mandatory plugins that we need it for ourselves. One is called UiPath and another is called Github. By default, when you use Jenkins, automatically some of the by default plugins will be installed for you. For example, branching part, PRs part, all those things will be by default installed. But whatever additional you needed, you need to install it. For example, since it is already installed in my system, if I type UiPath, you can see here, there is something called UiPath. You just click on this and click on install. Similarly, if you want to use GitHub, come here and GitHub, this GitHub and GitHub branch source. So all these things, and generally this takes time. I would say depend on your speed, but generally what I observed, sometimes it takes more than an hour to install all the latest packages or something like that. So keep that bandwidth with you when you are just installing and these things. This is very common that half an hour would be taking for all these packages and installation. Okay, assuming everyone has now installed the packages and all those stuffs, we'll start going through, for example, what Jenkins said, how to write some start basic code. Okay, so to start this, I'll be clicking on something called new item. And when you click on new item, you can see here there are many things like freestyle project, pipeline, and all. So let me go back to my this, and where you can see here there are three things. One is called pipeline series and multi-branch pipeline. So what is pipeline? So pipeline means series of events or jobs which are linked with each other in sequence, which will help to build CI/CD. Like when if you don't have multiple branches, when you have only one branch in your repository and you want to run that only branches one by one, so you can go with pipeline. As the name suggests, multi-branch. What is multi-branch pipeline? So multi-branch is a concept of automatically creating Jenkins pipeline based on Git branches. So for example, if you have created 5 branches in your GitHub, you don't need to manually come here and create it in the, especially in the Jenkins. Automatically, if you use multi-branch, it will be fetched by the Jenkins. So this is what the difference between pipeline and multi-branch pipeline. So I'll be demonstrating you with a simple hello world type in how to do it in pipeline, and then we'll be going into the multi-branch pipeline. Then when the pipeline build start, Jenkins use the Jenkins file in that branch for build stages. I'll come to this point in a while when I'll be just coming to the multi-branch pipeline. So let me come here and let me start with a basic how things works in a normal pipeline. If you need more definition of it, you can see here what is the purpose of this pipeline. So orchestrator long running activities that can span multiple build agents. Okay, so I'll be clicking on this. And before that, I'll be writing, for example, UiPath. Okay, I just name something like this, UiPath meter pipeline, and I'll create OK. Okay. Now, once you press OK, you will get something like this where it will be asking you more details about it. For example, what is the description? As the name suggests, description, describe what you will be. So demo on pipeline. Okay. And there are other checkboxes are there. Right now, we don't need to focus on these things because this comes at an like advanced level. Just to get an understanding how it works, I will be writing some code and also taking you a few terms that everyone should be aware on Jenkins. Assuming everyone is beginner and everyone should know the basic terminologies. Okay, so you can see here I have not done anything apart from just writing the description. I scroll down to the bottom, and now I'm talking about something called pipeline. Okay, here you are getting something called pipeline script. If you'll click on the drop down, you'll get two options. What you want from this pipeline, whether you want pipeline script or pipeline script from SCM. So now I just want to do it from pipeline script for now. Here you can see there are, even if you click on the script, you will get something like what do you want to run it. So just now what I will do, let me use a hello world first. Just by default, some code will come to you because this is just a sample file. So I'll be writing some hello world. And now you can see here, you got something like this: pipeline, agent any, stages, then stage, and then steps, and then echo. Okay, and use Groovy sandbox. So again, Groovy is again an kind of a programming language. It is more supportive of Apache language, where if you want to use Java, it supports both static and dynamic language. So now suppose I have just used the basic hello world program, where now you'll be asking what is this pipeline. So just pipeline means that you have used declarative scripts, where it is now it is just, you can assume it like how we have in Java something called use main, then system public import, all those types. So this is just the beginning of our particular Groovy syntax where we are assuming this is a declarative pipeline. I'll be coming to you with a definition of declarative and scriptive pipeline. Then again, the definition is agent in the sense, if you have any agents available to run this particular Jenkins file. And then we are defining stages. As the name suggests, stages in the sense there can be multiple stages. For example, instead of hello, you can write it here, anything. For example, I'll be writing test. Okay, where now what are you telling? There is a stage called test, and what are the steps that you need to take in this particular stage? So this is something called steps, and echo is the way to show the output. For example, in UiPath we have write line, message box, log messages. In Java we have system.out.println, something like this. Echo, same thing. I have not done any changes except like changing the name from hello to test. I'll be clicking on something called save. Now, you can see here, demo on pipeline, the same description that I have written has come here, but nothing else is coming on this particular part. So now the other step is, once you have just saved the particular pipeline, what you have to do, you have to use something called build now, because the bot, because this Jenkins files is not aware whether you want to run it now. Then for this, we'll be using on your left side, you can see here, there is something called build now, an option. So I'll be clicking on this build now. And yeah. And now you can see here, you got just a basic test, and this is a green color, which means your there is a success. You can also check the logs. You can see here, once you hover to this particular section or this square, you can see here that you will get an option called success with logs. So I'll be just clicking on this logs, and you can see the same message that we have written with the hello world. Now again, you have used one stage. So here you can add multiple stage as well. For example, test, then dev, UAT, prod, all those things you can do it. For example, if I want to do it again, so what was the name? Okay, UiPath. So, and you can see here, the icon also demonstrate you that the name that you have, the pipeline that you have created is successful. There are chances that you will also be seeing what is error, so it will be a cross mark. So in case if I need to add multiple stages, for example, so I'll be clicking in this configure. Okay, I just hover to that, and then suppose on the same file, what I will doing, Control C, Control V. I think I have to add one more thing. Instead of test, let me write UAT. Save this, and again do the same thing, build now. Did I change the name? Okay, now just to demonstrate, okay, now you can see here, you got something called failed error. Now, if you want to see again what has happened, so here you can give more something, you can click here, and then you can see the console output. Like you can see here, okay, so it is telling you there is some issue with this stage, maybe some error, curly braces and all has been missed. You can see here steps in the stage, in the steps. So now I got that, okay, there is some issue with my this particular thing. Again, I can come back, configure it, change it back to the same thing what has been there. So this is how the basic pipeline means to you. So I hope the basic pipeline, I'll not be going and changing it again. I'll be moving to the next multi-branch pipeline, which is more in-depth, since now you are aware, because first of all, I'll be going to my UiPath. So I'll be starting with a new process to demonstrate how this works. Before that, there is one also mandatory things that everyone should know is to have a repository with you available. Okay, so let me click on my repository. So I have created my own repository here. You can see here. Now, I hope everyone know how to create a repository. If not, I'll be showing you how to do that. Once I logged into my own GitHub repository, there is an option on this, and you can see here your repositories. Okay. Once you click on this, your repository, you can see that like I have multiple repositories created for myself. In case if you want to create a new, what you need to do is just to come here and click on this particular new button. Okay. Now, whatever name you want to do give for that particular repository, you can come here and write it. For example, I would say UiPath meetup, and then I would say okay. So you can see here, I have given a name, UiPath Meetup, 12th Feb. And there is something called public where anyone can come here and do this. If you want to make it private, you can do that. But again, just to demonstrate you, I am doing it a public so that this can be accessible by anyone. If you want to give description, what is this repository, who all has the, like, what is this doing, you can do it here. I'll be coming here and just clicking on this create repository. And now the best part is once you create like that, you will get something called HTTPS for connecting this repository with any of your system. So I'll be demonstrating also how you can connect your repository with UiPath. So I'll be coming with UiPath and clicking on this new blank process. I would say UiPath meetup description demo on CI/CD. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
hi sir, Vignesh here. I have a doubt.
Yes, Vignesh.
Sir, I am having a doubt regarding Azure pipeline and orchestrator. Whether you will clear that doubt in this session?
No, Vignesh. There is a separate session which has already been conducted for Azure pipeline. Okay, so if you are very interested for Azure, you can go through, you will find the sessions in YouTube. Just search there, you will find how to connect Azure with UiPath Orchestrator that has been already been done. Okay,
Okay,
so here I'll be
in that
focusing only on
scenario,
Jenkins.
can you tell me some ideas regarding that?
Ideas in the sense, Vignesh,
Uh,
like how to connect and all.
no, no, not like that. I am facing an issue in that one. Why
Those
I'm
things, Vignesh, sorry, we are not covering here. Maybe you
okay.
can connect personally and then we'll try to figure it out. Okay.
Where can I contact you?
Just ping me.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. Okay,
Okay,
sir.
Vignesh. Yeah,
Thank you.
fine. So now I am in my UiPath. Here, I'll not be demonstrating a very big process. I'll be just writing something so that everyone can understand. Suppose taking a message box, like just taking a message box, and now I want to publish this particular package of mine or the process into my UiPath, into my Git repository. So what I need to do here is uh, you come here, click on home, click on team, and then you have to click on something called git init. Because why I am doing git init, git initialization, because already I have created a repository in my Git. So I'll be clicking on this. I'll be choosing the folder that I need to. For example, I'm talking about this particular UiPath meetup. So I'll be clicking on this, click on this select folder. Okay. Now you can see here, you are getting the options which file you want to upload into your repository. So suppose this is the file you are talking about right now, but I'll do one changes here before uploading. So I'll be canceling here. And since I am already logged into my GitHub and it is already linked up, you can see here, even though uh, it has not asked me, but I will show you how it is asking you for that HTTPS that we have just not talked about. Okay. Why I have stopped here is because I want to show you how you are using Jenkins in your UiPath and how you are integrating your Studio, Orchestrator, and Jenkins from this particular file. So for that, first thing I will be doing would be logging to my cloud UiPath Orchestrator. Okay. Yeah. So I am inside my UiPath Orchestrator. I'll be clicking on this and then I'll be going into a file called admin. Okay. And then I'll be clicking on default tenant and then there is an option called services. So what I have done, click on admin, then click on your default tenant and then click on services. And then you will be seeing a list like orchestrator, actions, AI center, integration service, document understanding. But our focus is only on the orchestrator part.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, Amit, please go ahead.
Is this also for on-prem or only a cloud integration?
This is cloud, not one on-prem.
But is it possible to do it as well as on-prem, or it's?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay.
There is. I'll be coming to the code where you can understand how it works in the on-prem. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
So once you are here, you can see that orchestrator is here, and you click on this three dots, and then you can see there is something called API access. So I'll be clicking on this API access. And once you click on this API access, you just be here on this particular screen because there are a lot of things that we have to take it from this particular screen. And now why I'm telling you, because of our multi-branch pipeline code. So for example, now the code that I was talking to you about, the same how we have done for the normal pipeline where you have done like test, UAT and all. Here there is another a separate multi-branch pipeline is here. Now you can see here the same concept. Here I will be explaining you for the multi-branch. You can see here there is something called pipeline. As the name suggests, it is a declarative pipeline where you have to follow some structure to write some steps how the Jenkins pipeline worked on it. Okay. And then there is an agent any, which you have already seen it. Means if any resources available from Jenkins to run it, use it. Now there are things you can see here. There are additional things I have written just after agent any. Concepts like in a curly braces, it is environment where I'm talking about major and minor. So basically I'm starting something called version control where I'm talking about, okay, one and then minor is zero. So it will start from 1, 1.1, 2, 3 and all. It will keep on going on. And then I have to add few things here. Few things in the sense, since now I want my code to publish in my orchestrator on different environment. So I need to define it where you need to pass all these things. And this is where, Amit, you were asking the questions, and this is where the same thing. Now you can see here, this is by default a format. You don't need to remember anything. You just need to change the data. UiPath orchestrator URL, since I am using this particular URL, so I have just given cloud.uipath.com. Okay, now UiPath orchestrator logical name. So what is this logical name? Now I have told you that you just be there in this particular screen. You will find all the details of yours in this particular screen. Now you can see that organization's ID and name. These are the two things that you have to focus on. Logical name is nothing but organization ID that you can find it on your particular screen. Okay. Once copy this from here, paste it here. Similarly, what is UiPath orchestrated tenant name? So whatever will be your tenant name, just come here and copy it. Okay. Name. Next, what is UiPath Orchestrator folder name? Folder in the sense in UiPath where you want to upload your packages. For example, if I press
Excuse me,
OK,
sir.
if I go to my Orchestrator, and now here you can see that I have two folders. So my workspace is by default and shared is also by default. You can have multiple folders. You can create multiple folders, and whichever folders you want to upload your
Sir,
packages, you can come here and upload it.
sir.
Vignesh, can you please go on mute if you're not talking?
No, I have. Sorry for the disturbance. Can you share me your mail ID in chat, please?
Uh, yeah, sure. I'll be doing it. You connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll help you. Okay. Yeah. Vignesh sent you. Fine.
Right.
Okay, now you can see here there are multiple, there are only two folders, but you can have multiple folders and you have to now mention it in which folder you have to keep your particular packages. So for example, in this case, I am just writing shared. And that's the reason if you see the code, you will be seeing something called shared here. Okay. Now, again, there is something called stages, similar to what you have seen for the normal pipeline. And then basic stage like preparing in the sense there are by default Jenkins home, and you can see here this is something dynamic value that it will automatically fetch like Jenkins URLs, build number, job name, branch name. So based on this, it will automatically do. So this stage is you don't need to do anything. Automatically, it will be done. Now, coming here, different stages. Now it's up to you to decide how many stages you are looking for. For example, someone will be asking that I would be looking for test, I would be looking for UAT, I would be looking for dev, and then I'd be looking for prod. Based on your requirements, just here, based on your requirements, you come here and then define your stages. For example, I'm just calling something called build stage build, and here I'm doing something called steps, which is a format, and here I'm writing something called building with this workspace. And then I can you can see here we have used something called UiPath pack. So this is again a function to build your package. And what is the output, where is the output, where to read it, everything we have mentioned. For example, output path where you want to output that. So this is the location, project JSON path, project.json, and then versions, like for example manual version entry, versions, all those things. Use orchestrator level, trace level, none. Based on your scenario, you would make this particular changes. Now you might be thinking from where I will be getting these terms like UiPath pack if I'm not aware. For this, UiPath, as you're aware, UiPath has a very great documentation. You can follow this particular URL. If you want, I will be copying this particular for following it. In this particular location, what you have to do here, you will get all the UiPath plugins details. For example, when you are connecting Jenkins with UiPath Orchestrator, UiPath Studio, what are the things and what are the code that you needed? For example, UiPath run job. If you want to run a particular job, what is the process? So you can see here job parameters. What are the parameters that is needed to run this particular things? Similarly, if you see here, now this is the example here, same example. And now you can see that there is this new things, new function where we call it UiPath run job. What are the things needed? So here you don't need to remember everything. Just you come here and change your credentials, folder name, orchestrator address, tenant name, process name, which you are talking about. Same thing. Similarly, I was talking about something called, I was talking about the run pack, right? UiPath pack. Here, you can see here, if you want to know more about this, you come here and understand this in more details. What are the parameters needed? What are the things we can do it from here? And based on it, make the changes accordingly. Okay. Similarly, I'll be coming back again to the same code. Now, suppose your build is done, you have done your build, then test stage, where you want to do the testing. For example, I'll be again going to the same thing, post build task, what you want to run it. For example, I'll be showing you, okay, run test. You want to run your particular test. Now you have already built it. That is built in the sense now that is already published in the that particular shared or that location. Now you want to run it. How to do that? First of all, you should have, for example, if you are running a test sets, then you should have already a test name, and you come here and copy this kind of stages. For example, this particular scenario where you will be telling the bot, this is the target and my test set, like whatever test set you will define it, your orchestrator URL, your tenant folder name, and where you want to put the results. So result.xaml file. One thing that you are seeing here in everything, you can be seeing something called credentials ID, which I'll be showing you how to use that in Jenkins and where to keep this so that you don't need to write it here again and again. So this way, you can see here there are multiple test scenarios where you will be writing it. Again, if you want to deploy it to the UAT environment, then what needs to be done? You come here, stage echo then UiPath deploy. If you want to know more about it, again, go back to that documentation, understand that this helps in the deployment. Where is your UiPath package? Where is your orchestrator URL, tenant name, folder, and then credentials here you can see here is there so that it will access it. Now, I'm again keep on coming to the same part, but I'm not discussing this, which is very important, is called that access part. So for example, I'll be going to the same admin, default, services, and then right click, and I'll be clicking on something called API access. And now you can see here, there is something called user key that I have. So what I'll be doing, I'll be clicking, I'll be copying this and done. Now I'll be going to the Jenkins. I'll be going to the Jenkins, and this is called the user key. This is how the UiPath orchestrator and Jenkins will connect through this user key. So how to do that? Go to your manage Jenkins, then go to your credentials, and then you can see here there are things like this. So you can click on something like this. Just click on this drop down and click on add credentials. Just click on add credentials, and then what is this? This is something called secret text that you want to give it. So for example, I'll be pasting it here and I'll be naming it UiPath something like this. I have named it. Okay, description is again and then once I'm done, I'll be clicking on this create. So by doing this, what I have achieved, I have saved that user key in my Jenkins. So now whenever I am talking about this credentials ID, and you are seeing here right now, I'm using cloud API key. I don't need to use cloud API key. Now I can cloud API key. Why I was using it? Because my credential was stored in this cloud API key. Now you can use something called UiPath secret key and UiPath meetup. So again, in same way, because you can't do the same deployment without knowing the credentials. Building is fine. Building is fine. Again, if you want to test it, you have to do it. And same thing, suppose in production, if you want to upload it in the prod environment. So again, you have to mention everything you have to mention in the Jenkins files. And if you see here, because of the interest of time, let me show you my previous thing that I have kept it for a backup. So I'll quickly go.
Pranav,
Yes,
sorry to
Manisha.
interrupt. I have a question.
Yes, Manisha, please go ahead.
Pranav, so basically, where do we add, like, suppose in prod, we need to deploy it to prod orchestrator. So we need to add the change request number, like we need to get a release manager approval or the comments and, QA approval, and then we need to put the change number and then deploy to prod. So where do we add those validations in the Jenkins.
Yeah, so this is the same place that I was talking about. If you are seeing here, so right now what we are doing, we are just using the deploy part, okay, where we are just deploying the main.xaml file, our XAML file, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
here now you have to give more conditions. So
Okay.
on what basis you want to deploy that particular XAML file into this? So now based on your scenarios, you have
Mm.
to give those conditions. So this is the steps that you have to define and you have to create it so that now you don't need a manual person to come and check it here. The bot will, based on the scenario, it will do it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
I have a question. This is Venkat. See, basically, it need to build that a new NuGet package, right? So that NuGet package will be built on the which machine?
A nugget package will be built on your when you build it, so it will go in the machine that you will define it. For example, in this case, it will go to something called your, whichever you define it. So here my branch name, for example, if I have talked about that, it will go in the test environment, okay, and in the shared folder. So automatically it will go to there in the test and in the build. Then once it has been approved, once all the validations, you will do it, then you will deploy it based on the folder name and the branch you want to deploy it. So all those things you have to write it here. For example,
Okay.
let me take you to my Jenkins, okay. So in the interest of time, I have the backup to demonstrate in case if I am not able to create it. So you can see here there are multiple test branches, okay. I have different scenarios like main, prod, test, UAT. If I'll be clicking on main, like there is nothing, okay. Let me click on my prod. Okay. Now everyone will be able to see something like this if you do multi-branch pipelining. So what it will be doing, so it will prepare it, so it will build it build wherever you will define it, then where you want to test it, wherever you will define it based on your branching. So the Jenkins file that I'm talking it to here, you have to define it in every scenarios. For example, this is for test environment, this is for UAT environment, this is for prod environment, and you upload this Jenkins files with this packages. So right now I have not uploaded this package, okay. So basically what will happen, there will be something like this, new, and then you will be seeing Jenkins like this. So what will happen, in what will be in this Jenkins files? This Jenkins file will have all the things that I am talking about. So this is what will be there in that Jenkins files. So once you published it into the Git repository, what will happen? Automatically it will come here in my repository. For example, yeah, okay. Let me show you this one. UiPath meetup. I have the backup. Yeah. So suppose you have uploaded it here. Once you upload it here, what will happen automatically, or if you want, you can come here and click on that build now, because if it is not linked or webhook is not there, automatically what will happen, based on your branching, okay, based on your branching. For example, you defined what will be there in the test, so you define 3 scenarios, okay. So everything will be here in this particular pipeline itself. You will be defining that, okay, it will be there in this. In UAT, you want to move to different things, you want to deploy it into UAT environment, so all those things will come, and automatically when you build it, it will be taking here based on the scenarios. Venkat, I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, but see, basically, like what the code that gets from the GitHub, right? That is my UiPath code, XAMLs and project.json. Okay, using that project.json and XAMLs, it need to build that Nugget package, so that that Nugget package is the one which will be copied over to the Orchestrator shared folder. So in order to build that Nugget package, you need to have that Nugget CLI or Visual Studio, or at least like UiPath Studio.exe or something should be there, right? To create that Nugget package.
No, here Nugget package will not come into picture. Why packet will not come into picture? The thing, this is what I'm telling you. Once you will tell, once this particular build, build here, your process will be uploaded, not the nugget package will be uploaded. Your process file or the package will be uploaded in this particular process section. So here, no nugget. If you want to do about the nugget package, if you want to work on that, so you can see here, I'll be showing you, there is again for nugget package, what you have to do. You can see here this particular UiPath deploy. And then you have to mention that your package path and your nugget package, where is that and where you want to install it. So this is the similar way. If you don't want to go with the process part, and if you want to go with the nugget package part, which by default, this is what I'm again keep on telling, that based on your code written here, you have to define that. Right now, we are just telling you whatever you are there, you just process it in the process section. And
No, but
similarly,
here itself, right? Deploy to UAT. If you look at that package path, okay, that package path is directed. I mean, below UiPath the deploy section. Package path, it is pointed to output and the build number. Okay,
correct,
this is the output build number is one which we are providing in the build stage. Okay, if you go to
correct,
build stage, right? Now it is correct, right? So basically, like we are providing the package path so that when you say deploy, it goes and gets that package from the whatever the path that we are defining, and then it will go to the orchestrator address. Okay, which is what the orchestrator you want to connect, and what is the tenant that you want to connect, and what is the folder you want to connect. It will go and place that package in that. Okay, that's what is a
correct,
deploy to UAT is happening.
correct,
So
correct.
my question is, see, I have a system where I don't have Visual Basic, or I don't have Nugget CLI or something. So on that machine, in order to build that Nugget package, do I need to prep that environment first to build?
Uh,
See,
I
basically, okay. For example, uh, Java package, right? So basically, you built a project in Java and you wanted to deploy it. Basically, like CI/CD is nothing but once you have that package built, that is moving off that package into from whatever the machine, wherever you are building it, from that machine to orchestrator. Okay, if you want to have a test orchestrator, moving into connecting to the test orchestrator and placing that file in that orchestrator in that particular folder. And after that, if you wanted to do some kind of automated testing, some test cases to be triggered and all these things, you will be defining in this stage. Okay, my question is, do I need to prep any system, okay, where I am
no,
building that
no,
package?
no.
Not required. Okay.
One more thing. This is what I'm telling. Suppose you have this process created. So by default, the nugget package will be there in the my package section. By default, for example, automatically once you tell by this, I'm just referring to this. For example, whichever environment you told, and it has been coming here. So it will be there in the my packages section, and you can have that nugget NUPKG file will be there with you. So now
No,
if
it
you
won't be
want,
there, right? See,
no?
for example, it won't be there, right? Because see, I open Studio and I firstly write a project, one small automation, okay?
Mhm.
And after that, I will check in those files into my GitHub, okay? And I have
Okay.
a Jenkins pipeline created. Whenever I think that webhooks concept is also I'm interested. So whenever
Correct.
I check in the file to GitHub, I want my pipeline to automatically trigger. So when the pipeline starts, the stages are like go and get the it will download the my project, okay, project files in the sense like my XAMLs and project.json from GitHub repository, okay. In
Correct.
that in
Correct.
my GitHub repository only, I don't have any Nugget package. It will have pure files, okay. It will download
Correct.
those files into some space, okay. And
Correct.
after that, it need to build that Nugget package, okay. After the package is built, that package will be moved to um, this orchestrator, whatever the folder, right? Now you are in my workspace. By my workspace, you have my packages, right? So it will move into this particular folder, okay, from using Jenkins pipeline. My what I wanted to understand is where the build is happening, okay, where my the XAMLs and the project.json using that where the build is happening.
Okay.
See, for example, if you go to if you open Studio and if I say publish, right? So what will happen during the publish? It will create the Nugget package, and it will tell where you want to publish it. You want to publish it to a local folder, or you want to publish
Correct.
it to an orchestrator. So when you click on the publish, that building of that nugget package will happen. Okay, and the system where studio is there, there is a studio.exe, UiPath studio.exe or something, by using which that nugget package will be built. You are getting my question, right?
I am getting your point, but still, maybe Venkat, we can talk on
Connect
this
offline.
individually. Okay.
Sure.
On this, just connect with me. Maybe after this, I'll be taking you to more detail on these things. Okay.
Sure, Pranav. I'll message you.
Yeah.
I have one request. Will you be sharing the recording of this?
Uh,
This
it will be available
session?
in YouTube, I think. So you can go through it. Yes, Vibhu, right?
Okay.
Hi, this is Nejit. I was having exactly same questions as Venkat did, so I'll also be interested to know.
Sure.
So, what mode do you prefer?
Maybe
communicate?
connect with my LinkedIn, then I'll be connecting with you both together. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. So I think
Pranav,
I'm
I need
over
to.
time.
Sorry to interrupt. I need to drop off for my next call. So
Yeah, sure,
I
sure.
hope like this session is very useful. Thank you for that, and I'll connect with you on in LinkedIn. And
Sure, sure.
also, if this recording is, if you can share it with all participants, that would be great.
Sure. It will be there in the YouTube, so you can. If not, I will be definitely sharing you. Okay. It is there in YouTube. All our community videos are there in YouTube, so you can search it from there.
Okay, sure. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'll ping you.
Yeah,
Thank
sure. Yeah, guys, since we are over time and I don't want to take much of your time, so what I'll be doing, we'll having a session called Mentimeter, where whatever we will be asking some few questions and then you have to give answer from that particular channel. Okay. So everyone, please join the Mentimeter. I'll be providing you the link.
Are you sending the link on chat?
Yeah, Mentimeter, first of all, yes. I'm sending it right now.
And also, where did you say all the recording are? Because is it in a specific link or?
Oh no, it is there in your YouTube channel. You can find it.
Okay, in the YouTube channel. Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
1526515. So this is the code. When you log into there, you can use this code to enter it. Once everyone is done, just let me know so that I can start the presentation for that particular thing.
Also, I didn't find on the on-prem any API key, but probably, and I looked for it on the documentation, but it's sending to a wrong link, by the way. So.
Okay. Again, Amit, if you have something, please connect them individually. Okay. I'll be available, so please connect with me on that.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, people are joining and they are responding. Happy to see the answers. Okay, I think we are good. And the first answer is all like pipeline stages, steps, that everything is there in the declarative pipeline, not just pipeline, not just pages, not just steps. Okay. Moving to the next question. Okay. Wait. Yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah, so CI/CD is basically continuous testing and deploying code. Moving to the second question. This is quite simple, I would say. So expecting correct answer in this. And yes, indeed, correct. Okay, let's see who is there in the leaderboard. Okay, I think fastest. Okay, Annie. Now moving to the next question. Okay. Before you use Jenkins, so just focus before Jenkins, not in Jenkins. This is just a hint I would be giving to you. Yep. Okay. And yes, like these are two things. One, you should have a code repository, and that Jenkins files that you have done, like you should be ready with that. Okay. And this is already we discussed. So here is the leaderboard. Let me take a screenshot of this. Okay. Nice, Ani. Congratulations for being the fastest and the highest. Okay, guys, we are running actually very sort of time. So anyone who wants to unmute themselves and ask anything, feel free to use this time and ask me. Okay. Okay, I think we are good. No questions then. Thank you everyone for joining for this wonderful session. It was lovely sharing my views there. Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Snehajit. Okay. Thank you. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Pranav. Thanks. That was nice.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.